Men have no place in the modern world. At least, that's the story we're told. More precisely, a certain kind of man no longer has a place. Men who require validation. Men who mistake comfort for purpose. Men whose identity collapses without being needed. Those men are obsolete, and they should be. The modern world does not need male approval to function. The lights turn on, the shelves stay full, the machine hums, stability persists on inherited momentum. The work that made comfort possible has already been done, abstracted, outsourced, and buried beneath systems that appear self-sustaining. This is not an accident. It is the consequence of brutal competence. Men did not become obsolete because they failed. They became invisible because they succeeded too completely. Order is mistaken for nature, stability for inevitability, maintenance for zero. The hands that built the structure disappear once the structure stands. But here is the buried truth. A world that claims it does not need men still depends on them. Not on their presence, on their restraint, not on their approval, on their willingness to carry responsibility without applause. This is not a plea for relevance. It is a warning about amnesia. Because when men forget what they are for, they do not become harmless. They become aimless. And aimless strength does not vanish. It metastasizes. Manhood was never about being wanted. It was about being necessary when comfort fails. And comfort always fails. Part 1. Crux. Here is the cold thesis, stripped of sentiment. A man's self-concept is not built through introspection alone. It is forged through movement under consequence. Motion creates momentum. Momentum creates gravity. Gravity bends circumstance around the individual rather than the individual bending to circumstance. This is the threshold where identity stops being theoretical. Victimhood is not primarily an external condition. It is an internal weakness of self-concept. When a man lacks mass, when his actions carry little consequence and his choices generate no gravitational pull, the world acts upon him freely. He is moved, redirected, corrected, and overwritten. He experiences this as oppression, bad luck, or betrayal. In reality, he simply does not weigh enough to resist. Movement without responsibility is noise. Responsibility without movement is stagnation. Manhood exists only at the intersection of the two. Part 2. Corpus. This is where modern definitions fail. Manhood is not performative dominance, emotional volume, or theatrical defiance. Those are compensation behaviors. They seek validation because there is no internal structure strong enough to hold weight without it. Real manhood is quieter, colder, relentless without witnesses. It is disciplined adherence to a chosen path and full ownership of its consequences. A man walks his path knowing that every step eliminates other paths. He understands that choice is loss by definition. He does not mourn the doors that close behind him. He treats cost as proof that the decision was real. Consequence is not moral. It is mechanical. The world does not care about intent. It responds to action. A man fit to stand alone does not negotiate with this reality. He aligns with it. This is the pressure of manhood. Walking your path will put you at cross-purpose with others walking theirs. That friction is unavoidable. Avoiding it does not make you virtuous. It makes you porous. You cannot hold a line without creating opposition. You cannot carry gravity without distorting nearby orbits. A man who tries to please every trajectory ends with none of his own. So he accepts this calmly, without resentment, without apology. He does not seek praise for restraint or sympathy for endurance. Validation is unnecessary when the internal ledger is balanced. Duty replaces drama. Accountability replaces narrative. Structure replaces emotion as the organizing principle. This is how self-concept hardens. Not through affirmations, not through ideology, through sustained movement, conscious choice, and detached acceptance of consequence. When momentum outweighs circumstance, the world stops happening to you and starts reacting around you. That is sovereignty. Not granted, earned. And once earned, it does not announce itself. Part 3. Laws of the Sovereign Man. 1. The law of irreversibility. Every true choice closes doors. If nothing is lost, nothing was chosen. A man measures decisions not by intention, but by what he is willing to permanently forfeit. Regret is not a flaw here. It is proof that the choice mattered. 2. The law of weight. A man's words, time, and presence must carry consequence. If removing him from a situation changes nothing, he has no gravity. Weight is earned through consistency under pressure, not charisma or volume. 3. The law of silence. What requires constant explanation is not yet real. A man explains himself only when strategy demands it, never to soothe discomfort or secure approval. Silence is not secrecy. It is containment. 4. The law of cost acceptance. Manhood begins the moment a man stops negotiating with the price of his path. He pays it calmly, without resentment, self-pity, or moral theater. Complaining about cost is an attempt to refund a life already chosen. 5. The law of collision. Walking a true path guarantees friction. Conflict is not a failure state. It is confirmation of direction. A man does not seek conflict, but he does not flee it when alignment demands resistance. 6. The law of non-transferability. No one else can walk the path for you, suffer the consequences for you, or validate it for you. Advice can be borrowed. Responsibility cannot. A man who tries to outsource accountability forfeits sovereignty. 7. The law of continuance. Momentum must be maintained even when clarity fades. Action precedes certainty, not the reverse. A man continues not because he feels inspired, but because stopping would dissolve the structure he has built. Together, these laws do one thing. They strip fantasy from manhood. No hero worship. No victim narratives. No emotional bargaining with reality. Only movement, consequence, pressure, and form